Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'm trying to figure out if I was going to sing a song for y'all. But I couldn't remember how to damn I couldn't remember how the song started, so I just pulled it up on my streaming service. Look at it. This to be special, something more than any other feeling that you felt before. Pushing through the door, I see girls having a good time. I might say a rhyme, old school, new school, no school rules. But other that and everything is cool. I see guys and girls dancing, doing the new dances. That's a hit while I'm over here romances. He ain't shit. This I don't need to curse. Ask me who he is and let me tell you first. Slow down, be cool, and don't act ill. I came to have a good time, party, and chill with you. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Well, with you, that joy be rocking still. Keep rising to the top, Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's going on, y'all? It's my Get Fresh crew right here. It's the Fire Fam on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the Tuesday edition. Thank you guys so much for being here. Woo child, you could tell I'm getting older because I ain't got no breath control. Like I said, I spent about 8 bars and I'm a little winded. But I appreciate you guys being here. We have got a good show for y'all tonight because this is a call-in show, gang. And I'm gonna tell you why it's a call-in show because as others have told me previously, I am a reactionary. I react to shit. Look, you had to tell the real revolutionary smart people. It's like, listen, like the first time somebody called me a reactionary as a diss, I just sat there. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be offended. My bad. Oh, okay, got you. I'm sorry. Your cut down was far too intelligent. Went way over my head. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were dissing. My bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You gotta use your disses on smarter folks. So anyway, I'm a reactionary, right? So I'm watching news this morning, right? And of course, some shit happened, and the news framed it fucked up. And I said, no, no, that's not going to be allowed to run. It's not going to be allowed to run. So, guys, Will's going to drop the link in the chat for everybody because we have a conversation. Because I need the expertise of the viewers of this program. There was a couple of incidents in the DC area in which Black women were the victims of violence. And in one incident, we're going to get into the incidents, but in one of those incidents, the news framed it as the incident began as a estranged husband showing up to the job of his wife that he was in the middle of a divorce. I'm sorry, the divorce proceedings had not even yet begun. But he showed up to her job and murdered her. And the question asked by the news anchors on local yokel station here in DC was, how did he get a gun? He had the wife had a protective order in place. How did he get a gun? And I said, yo, we have to shift this fucking conversation from this ignorant, naive shit. We have to get away from people not understanding what country we live in, that we live in a country that has more guns than actual people, that protective orders don't protect shit for people who are trying to escape a violent situation. And how did he get a gun? This motherfucker was breathing in America. What you mean how he get a gun? So my question is, guys, do we have a gun problem or do we have a man problem? And I'm going to get into that in a bit, but I wanted to drop the link and make this an open response from the viewers, from everybody here watching us live now. If y'all watching later, sorry for you, but I want to hear from everybody live because I'm missing something. I personally am missing something in this whole violence schematic that we have in the US, especially as it lays along gender lines. Should we get right into it? So before I even get into the stories I wanted to get into, hold on, because hey, listen, fellas, let me be clear here. I see we got some of our bruvs checking in. Bruvs, the good bruv. Oh, well, first of all, you could only be here if you're a good bruv because the trash men would never be able to tolerate my rhetoric. Which, by the way, let me be clear. This is not. Let me tell before we get into what this is. Let me explain very briefly what this is not. This is not a bomb session on men. This is not a men are trash rant. This ain't a men ain't shit rant. I have questions and legitimate, valid concerns, not only about my safety as a woman. But literally, once I started unpacking the statistics of who are overwhelmingly the victims of gun violence, it's men by a lot, by a whole lot. And I have questions for the mandem. Where is your level of self preservation? Isn't it in men's interest to get a handle on the violence committed by men in this country? Like, this ain't even, well, we know we're going to bring the women back into the conversation, no doubt. But I'm asking y'all, aren't y'all tired of getting fucked up by other men? Like, how come we not doing something about this? Like, why is this not urgent? I'm so confused. I'm in deep confusion. So anyway, y'all come on in here, give the video a like, a thumbs up. Let me say what's up to y'all real quick, and then we're gonna get into this because I'm gonna bring Will into this. Will getting tagged into this as well. Will and Will. Will, not yet. Will, Will has experience in early childhood. Yes. I guess with the children, with kids, small children, elementary age children, right? And he notices very distinct differences in behavior, in response to discipline, in response to instruction. Like children along the two genders, and for the sake of simplicity's sake, and that's not to exclude non-binary folks or folks who don't, identify as a gender, or children who don't identify. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just going. I gotta keep it simple. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be insensitive. And to be honest, I'm not equipped to talk about the role of non-gender specific people and how it plays in violence. Right. That's way out of my lane. So we gonna stick this to the boys and the girls for tonight. We good. We understand. Peace, Zenzi Bell. Zenzi Bell, I expect to hear from you too. But the brovs, I expect to hear from y'all. Who I see in here? John Kemper? Oh, who I see in her? Latif? KJ Sakuna? We're going to drop this link, fellas. And again, y'all know how we roll over here. Y'all can turn on your cameras. Y'all can not turn on. I don't give a shit. Just make sure we can hear your ass. Okay? Like that's the important thing. But so before I get into just again the stories that triggered my reactionary ass, hold on, I'm sorry, back up. I wish y'all could have seen the face of the person who called me a reactionary, dog, because I wish you could have seen my face. I was like, stop insulting stupid people. Leave us alone. keep all your smart people quips to your fucking self because it's wasted on a don't like me. You hear me? I'm sorry. I told y'all I laugh at inappropriate times, at inappropriate things. Ain't shit funny about this topic, but the fact that I had to relate to y'all that I was lost when when someone insulted me as a reaction. I was like, oh, you meant that bad. Oh, sorry. Let me calm down. All right, y'all. Hold on. Y'all know I gotta straighten up and reset. Start over. Outcast again. Come on in here, everybody. Give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everybody who has subscribed to Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We are on our quest. We are on a war tour with Muhammad, my man, going each and every place with a mic in our hand. We're trying to get to 5K. So help us get on our way by sharing, subscribing today. And we don't, fuck, I can't freestyle. Let me shut up. I was going to try to put one together. It didn't work. So let's start with some statistics. Let's start with some stats, okay? Will, if you could please pop up that NIH study for me, because what I found is that this study, which was published in 1992, conducted by the National Institutes of Health, is actually widely cited when discussing rates of specifically homicides and gun violence. We're going to start with the homicides first. So the name of this study is Men, Women, and Murder, okay? Gender-specific differences in rates of fatal violence and victimization, okay? The NIH conducted this study The interval period in which they did this study was between 1976 and 1987. That's critical for later, because what was not a part of the culture between 1976 and 1987? Overwhelmingly video games, right? Video games are largely blamed as a culprit. Why these young boys are so easily socialized to gun violence. With no motherfucking Call of Duty in 1979. Some of those, this is what I'm saying. The man have been wilding for a while, even obviously beyond 1976. But let me get back to this. So, the interval period in which the NIH studied this data, homicide data that they gained from the FBI statistics, that they gained from Centers of Disease Control. Between 1976 and 1987, there were roughly about 215,000 homicides. Jesus, America is violent. Violent as shit, y'all. And what researchers were able to glean, this is homicide. This is all murders. This ain't just guns, okay? This is all murders. You dig? What the research found is that not only are men overwhelmingly the perpetuators of homicidal violence, they are also overwhelmingly the victims of this violence, and not by a little bit. Men are 77% of victims of murder. Peep that. Just deep that for a second, y'all. 3 out of every 4 murders in this rotten ass colony, it's a man dying. And chances are he's dying at the hands of another man. Women accounted for 23% of the victims of homicide in America between 1976 and 1987. That to me was a shocking statistic. 23%. That's the number of women murder victims as part of the data in this NIH study. A couple of things about the study that I want to just mention, okay? What was not included in this data? The data only counted murder victims who were 15 years of age or older. So it did not really count most children. It didn't. It also does not include people who were the victims of being murdered by law enforcement, which I thought was an interesting number to exclude. Yeah, from the murder rate. Why is that number excluded? I have questions. But I mean, just digging down and to figure out, how could I live out this little nougat from this study? So in the US population, men and women are about evenly split, right? Roughly 50-50 or 49-51. Women make up half of the US population. However, per this study, women only accounted for 14.7% of murders committed, meaning that the perpetrators, people who were committing acts of murder, 14.7% of murderers were women. Now, gang, I think I have told you guys that in school I failed math lots of times. However, I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide like a motherfucker. Okay. Nigga, I can know what the difference is. Let's see. We take 100% minus 14. So let's just go ahead and round that 14.7 up to 15. Let's round that up to 15. So 100% minus 15 equals 85. So that means that 85% of the people committing murder in America are men. Pause. Stop that. Hold on. Put me up here, Will. I need y'all. Look, I need what? 85%, 85% of the murders in America are committed by men. 85%. Let anybody tell you that there is a legitimate gender war going on. I give you permission to smack that person in the teeth. Actually. Not figuratively. Literally, smack them in the teeth. What the fuck are we talking about here, y'all? And that's another point. This is also a reoccurring theme here on this platform. The gender war is a fake, okay? That shit is some rhetoric. That's some shit somebody made up. Because if it is a gender war, again, that shit look like Israel versus Hamas, right? One side of the gender war is throwing rocks, and the other side of the gender war is dropping fucking tomahawk missiles. Okay, so I guess you could call that a war, maybe. Miss me with this gender war bullshit, everybody. And again, this is all murders. 85 men commit 85% of all murders. They are the victims of murder 77% of the time. Women commit, rounded up, 15% of all murders. So what's the gender war? What's the war? What is the war? I'm gonna tell you what the war is. The war is man against everybody. Man against himself. Man against woman. Man against gender non-conforming. The men, y'all, this shit is out of control. It is out of control. And let me tell you, I think that when we have these conversations about violence, especially now with the uptick in conversations nationally around crime and gun violence. Like that to me is like the 800-pound gorilla in the room that never gets mentioned. It's always, what are we going to do about guns? How are we going to get guns off the street? Why are we ignoring the fact that it is one demographic that is doing most of the fucking gun violence? I think that's very pertinent information, don't you? Like, I don't even see how that gets left out of the conversation. How could you leave that out of the conversation? Will, if you could please pop up that ABC News article for me. Because seriously, like, okay, there's tons of research out there about guns, people killed by guns, people injured by guns. But when you try to extrapolate those numbers via race, via gender, it becomes a little bit more challenging. So, but however, I will say this, ABC News in this article posted in 2021 at least acknowledge the shit, because I didn't see too much of that. You don't see the ABC News article? Thank you, Will. Thank you so much. That joint says, guys and guns. Why men are behind the vast majority of America's gun violence. And let me just sum up for you guys the article. It doesn't say why, in spite of its headline. Why men are behind the vast majority of gun violence. The article does not answer this question. What the article does go on to confirm, and this article was framed mainly around mass shootings. And I'm sure you would not be surprised to learn that men and boys commit over 90% of mass shootings. In some very specific instances, they are 98, 94% of all mass shootings. In fact, hold on, let me pull this up specifically from this ABC News article. It says, according to the nonprofit research center, the Violence Project, men are responsible for 98% of mass shootings. And according to an analysis by Everytown for Gun Safety, which is a grassroots organization aimed to curb and combat gun violence in America, what they found, gun violence in America, what they found was 95%. Men were behind 94% of 240 mass shootings of varying locations. And this is between the years 2009 to 2020. From 2009 to 2020, according to Everytown for Gun Safety, men were responsible for 94% of mass shootings. So y'all, I just want to be clear here. Like, there's not a single instance or category, especially pertaining to gun violence and homicides, in which, when it comes to being the victims and perpetrators, men are overwhelmingly overrepresented. Let me take y'all to the story. Ooh, I'm so sorry to bring y'all this, y'all, because again, I see these stories and I say, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this shit because this shit going to bum out everybody. And everybody don't like to be bummed out. Y'all have told me straight up, like, Kim, I love you. I love the show. I can't watch the shit you talk about sometimes because the shit is bum. And I'm sorry. My goal is not to bum y'all. My goal is to wake up, like the end of the Spike Lee movie at the end of school days. I'm running around the dorm room screaming at everybody to wake up. And I know a lot of y'all's already awake. So, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, but we got to go teach the others. And I want to hear from y'all. Will has already dropped the link. I ain't ready for y'all yet, and I don't even think nobody's called. And maybe y'all not gonna call because maybe nobody has the fucking answers. But anyway. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get ahead of myself. So let's go, Will, to the Fox 5 story first, because this is a story that made me react because I'm a reactionary. So this is the story. I saw the story when it happened. It kind of happened over the weekend, but the way it was framed I can't just blame Fox 5 here. I mean, yeah, I can point the finger at Fox 5 because it's them and I'm putting them on the Summer Jam screen, but it wasn't just Fox 5. It's all these motherfuckers. Every time some shit like this happens where usually a woman partner, ex-wife, ex-partner, ex-girlfriend, baby mother, whoever, ends up getting gunned down by her former partner, and she has a protective order in place. The question that the news always asked was, well, she had a protective order in place. How did he get a gun? How did he manage to I don't have the patience. So anyway, let me piss y'all off real quick with the way Fox 5 reported on this story, and let me give y'all the background. So here we are, January the 9th. One of the first homicides to happen in Frederick County, Maryland, which is a bedroom community just north of Washington, D.C., a little bit north of Montgomery County. Frederick County is black folks in Frederick County. Is more black folks going out there now because Frederick County is becoming a little bit more affordable. But this story comes out of a town called Urbana, Maryland. The young woman was working at the Giant food store. Giant is a well-known well-known grocery chain here in the DC area, and that's where she worked, at the Giant. And the day before this incident, she had filed for divorce from her husband. And we'll pick up the story from there. This is Fox 5 DC.
We start with a murder investigation underway tonight in Frederick County, Maryland. Investigators say a man shot and killed his estranged wife right outside her job at a Giant grocery store. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office releasing this mugshot of the suspect they arrested, and as you can see, he's smiling. Fox 5's Derek Waller live in Urbana, where that shooting happened. And Derek, we're learning that suspect was actually court-ordered to stay away from his wife.
Sierra, all of this so disturbing, coming to you live tonight from outside this Giant grocery store here on Sugarloaf Parkway. And authorities say that the suspect, the man you just saw in that creepy mugshot, he actually had an active protective order filed against him by the woman he's accused of murdering.
Her and some other co-workers had got off work and they were walking outside, and he was in the parking lot waiting for her.
A deadly ambush. 33-year-old Tanisha Butler shot and killed in the parking lot of the Giant grocery store where she worked moments after closing Saturday night. The murder happening in front of her co-workers.
So that entire parking lot was a huge crime scene.
Todd Weivel with the Frederick County Sheriff's Office tells Fox 5, 33-year-old Frederick Owusu Seiki of Walkersville, Maryland, is now behind bars, charged with first-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of a murder. That's him smiling in this mugshot, taken just hours after the shooting. Deputies were able to track him down in Columbia, Maryland, and inside his car, they found a shotgun and a handgun. Weapons he was not supposed to have, authorities say, due to an order of protection filed against him. The couple was also in the middle of a divorce. How on earth was he able to get a gun?
As any law enforcement agency, it is our job to serve the protective orders or peace orders, but there's no way for us to constantly monitor that person and how they go about getting a weapon.
Tonight, this quiet community is in shock. What was she like?
Really friendly lady. Our prayers to the family is hard for them. I know it's difficult times they are having at the moment.
A Giant spokesperson released a statement that reads in part, "Our thoughts and prayers are with our associate and their family at this very difficult time. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement as they conduct their investigation, and the safety and well-being of our customers and associates continue to be our top priorities."
That's enough. Thank you for that. So you guys can imagine Like, I mean, you guys know how I feel about these things generally, right? But to see that motherfucker grinning from ear to ear, smirking from ear to ear, oh, what you did a good job, nigga. You do what you shot down your wife at her job in front of her coworkers. You deserve a medal. You deserve some congratulation. You proud of yourself. You think you did a wonderful thing there. You put that bitch in her place, huh? Is that what you did? And then for the ignorance, threefold. The murderer, obviously, fuck him. Roast in hell, you piece of shit. Second of all, the police, the police. How many times have we had this conversation, everybody? Cops do not keep us safe. For people who are surviving a domestic violence situation and they go seek a protective order, stay away order, restraining order, what does that do? Like a restraining order, a protective order has the same level of protection. Like it does. Like what does it do? Actually, it's a record. It's a document. It's something that is there to document that the person seeking the restraining order does not want to be contacted by the person the restraining order is placed against. The restraining order doesn't do shit. Frederick County Police wasn't waiting in the parking lot of the giant grocery store to make sure that that motherfucker didn't show up to blow that young woman away. And the cops just admitted it as such. Frederick County Sheriff said, it's our job to serve the order. Like, we can't make sure that they don't have the guns and shit. Yeah, they're not supposed to have guns, but that's not our job to make sure that they don't have guns. Whose job is it? Whose job is it? Are we on the honor system with the domestic abusers? We got to, Frederick, you got to take your word. Oh, well, okay, I don't have any guns, officer. Okay, well, you better not get no guns or else nothing is going to happen to you. What was the other part? The asshole murderer, the piece of shit cop. Oh, yes, the media. Yeah, how could I forget? How was he able to get a gun? He had a protective order against him. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we had fucking middle schoolers reporting the news. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that we had literal fourth graders, like literal naive fucking children on mainstream broadcast channels asking the simple questions that a baby would ask. What the fuck do you mean? How did he get a gun? Are guns hard to acquire in America? They're not. Let me answer the question for you. For all of our foreign viewers who might think, hey, maybe a gun is hard to get. It isn't. It is not. Honest question, okay? And you don't have to reveal nothing about your activities or your associates or nothing. Be honest, y'all. How many phone calls for you to get a gun? Like if you just can't walk into the store and buy one, right? Or if you're not interested in waiting a background, like I'm guessing 2. I'm thinking to myself, 2? I make 2 calls and I'm strapped. Make it make fucking sense. Why are you asking stupid fucking questions of law enforcement who can't even tell you how a protective order literally saves lives? Because it doesn't. Because there's nothing to back it up, guys. And I continue to be so disgusted with the whole protective order system because you guys know, sometimes I get my years confused, especially in the pandemic years, but it was a pandemic year. I'm pretty sure it was 2021, actually. Or might have been 22. What's the year that I knew not one, but 2 dudes to murder their wives, right? I knew 2. I know. Let me not say knew. Well, let me say knew for one of them because one of them is passed away because he took his own life after he murdered his ex-wife and his pregnant girlfriend in the same day. And then he shot himself, right? The motherfucker I ran track with. That's one. Second one is still awaiting trial in Harford County, Maryland, for allegedly murdering his wife, who had a protective order against him. And the police said that he shot her in her driveway at her house where he was not supposed to be at. So these protective orders, you might as well go wipe your ass with that protective order because it's going to serve a similar function as the toilet tissue, right? So again, but hold on, but that's domestic. We'll cue up that USA 9 piece. So that's domestic, right? And again, per the statistics from the National Institutes of Health study, and there's other statistics as well. But women are the victims of homicide only 23% of the time. Again, that sounds like a low number, but on one hand, I kind of believe it. But out of that 23% of women who are victims of homicide, they are twice as likely. Women are twice as likely to be murdered by a spouse, or as the study describes, a quote, intimate acquaintance, right? I don't even know what that means. I mean, I do know what it means, but I know it's very broad. Intimate acquaintance, right? It's just that. Whereas men are more likely to be murdered by a stranger, right? Which again, men, doesn't that bother you? Aren't you afraid that you're going to be murdered by some strange man? Shouldn't there be some protocols and some safety measures in place that we can get a hold of the men? And even though, again, the question always boils down to, how did he get the gun? How did he get the gun? Y'all, is it the gun? Do we have a gun problem, or do we have a man problem? Because in America, half of the population is women. I can only assume women have as much access to guns as men. We live in the same fucking country, don't we? You know what I'm saying? And women also grow up under capitalism. Some women grow up under poverty. We all grow up under white supremacy. We all grow up under patriarchy. We all grow up under misogyny, right? So you have to explain to me, why is it that men are committing 85% of the homicides? Men are committing 98% of the mass shootings. If we all fucked up together, then how come we not all acting fucked up together? And not to say women don't act fucked up. Do not misinterpret what I'm saying here. It's not 100% men and 0% women. No, but it is 85% men and 15% women. And y'all, if you were a firefighter and you were responding to a fire and two buildings adjacent to each other are ablaze, as it were, right? One building is 85% on fire and the other building is 15% on fire. Which building needs your immediate attention? So anyway, that first story, a domestic violence situation. But this second story, I can't say it's more tragic. It is as tragic, but it's not a domestic situation. But it is a woman victim, and it is a man who committed these acts. And to be clear, some people might ask, well, Kim, you only focus on Black people. Yes, because I'm Black. Yes, okay. Listen, let the white folks collect themselves, let the Asian folks collect themselves, let the Latinos and Latinas collect themselves, let everybody collect themselves. I'm here to collect my folks. You understand? I don't lack empathy for other communities, but I am more concerned with my own community, right? First and foremostly, and I'm unapologetic about that. Make no mistake. So the story focuses on Black people, Black victim, Black perpetrator. This tragic homicide happened to be the first one to occur in Washington, D.C. in 2024. The very first homicide of the year. It happened on New Year's. And Will, note the time code for me there, bro. Let's start that at 25 seconds in. Let me give you guys the background if I could. So a group of teenagers, young college students, seem to be about freshman age, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. On New Year's Eve, they rented a hotel room at the Embassy Suites up in Friendship Heights in Washington, D.C. Now, I would consider Friendship Heights a better part of town, right? Like, it's a little fancy, but people get robbed all over DC, even in the fancy parts. But anyway, but Friendship Heights, I wouldn't call it a violent area, okay? They rented a room at the Embassy Suites. It was a group of girls. And then the reporter's going to pick this story up. But the victim here was an 18-year-old college freshman who was a freshman at Louisiana State University at LSU. She is from Maryland. She was back home in the area on college break. And we'll let WUSA Channel 9's Delia Gonsalve pick up the story for us. Let's take it away.
Obviously grieving. I spoke to them afterwards. They didn't want to talk on camera because they heard some very heartbreaking details inside this courtroom today. The defendant in this case pled not guilty. His defense attorney arguing that even though witnesses at the party saw him with a gun, no one testified to actually seeing the shooting. After police issued a surveillance picture of 18-year-old Jelani Cousins of Northeast, a witness, we're told, brought him to the 1st District Police Station Tuesday to turn himself in for the murder of Ashley Hines. Ashley Hines, a freshman at LSU, home for the holiday, attended a New Year's Eve party at Embassy Suites in Friendship Heights. Prosecutors say about 6 people were having a sleepover when the person who rented the room invited a boy over, who then brought 5 other young men to the hotel room, including the defendant. It turns out the defendant is a relative of the person who hosted the party. But get this, witnesses say he was, quote, trying to have sex with one of the young ladies who was drunk, and that the guys were, quote, rude and disrespectful. They were told to leave, pushed out of the hotel room, the door slammed on their faces. According to court documents, that's when Cousins, who already showed his gun, allegedly said, quote, "I'll blow this spot up," repeatedly before firing 2 shots through that closed door. We're also learning that both bullets hit 18-year-old Ashley Hines. She was on the other side of that door. And listen to this, she was gathering her items. She was about to leave because things had turned sour. According to the medical examiner, she was shot twice in the left arm, and 1 bullet actually traveled to her lungs. We spoke to her family yesterday. They describe Ashley as a determined, loving, kind young lady who was going to school, excited about her career. She wanted to be a sports agent. We're gonna have much more from her family coming up when I see you in an hour. Back to you.
We've seen this time and time again, and far too often, her whole life in front of her and a really bright future. Delia, we'll see you later. Thank you.
I mean, so the young man came with a group of friends, trying to take advantage sexually of a young woman who was drunk. Thank God her friends were there to take care of her and to protect her and to watch over her, because God knows what would have happened to her if there not had been people in the room to protect, right? But even still, oh my God, Lord, y'all, that really just hit me just now. So you had one girl there who I can only assume was almost sexually assaulted, but her friends, but for her friends intervening, right? Because I mean, not to say that what's in the media report has to be correct. However, I've been following Delia Gonzalez for years, so she has credibility in my opinion. I don't think Delia Gonzalez would report something that she did not confirm with sources. So we're gonna go with that. So the one of the 6 young women in the room was almost sexually assaulted. Her friends protected her and in fact asked the rest of the boys who were being rude and disrespectful, asked them to leave. Didn't call the police on them, didn't call hotel security on them. Asked them to leave. Even sounds like they pushed them out the door, slammed the door in their face. The girls are entitled to do that, okay? If motherfuckers is coming in as guests and being rude and disrespectful and trying to be grabby and rapey and shit, you got to get the fuck out, period. Like, what the fuck? And then the 18-year-old young man, the accused killer, can't take no, can't take rejection, can't take humiliation, can't take being told that he couldn't be somewhere, not by some bitches. So what does he do? He pulls out his gun and shoots through the door. And this poor young girl, oh my God, the young woman had the four-mindedness. She was packing her shit and she was leaving. She said, I don't like this. I don't like how this is going. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And she was trying to leave. This motherfucker done shot through the door and ended her life. Not a domestic violence situation, right? A gun situation in which a gun was used by a man in this case against a woman. Statistically, not typical, according to the NIH, right? But not uncommon either. And this is where I wanted to kick it to y'all, because this is where I'm in confusion. This is where I remain in confusion. Because if we had a gun problem, if it was really the gun, like everybody say, if we got the guns off the street, if we put every nigga who was carrying a gun in jail, then we would be fine. And that's a lie. That's a lie. That is incorrect, because there is something very the matter with the way that men and boys are socialized and the way that we all, regardless of gender, are taught to accept and normalize violence, right? Like it's normal in America. Like, I feel so bad for people who come to visit this country and they're like, why is there so many people sleeping on the street? Like, yeah, you ever like serious foreigners, right? I don't talk about Canadians. I'm talking about actual foreigners. So take a long flight to come here. These motherfuckers come to America and be stunned at how much of a shithole country America is. But the violence, y'all. I was looking at comparable murder statistics, homicide statistics in the UK. Show day. In America, in 1 year, many thousands of people get murdered. In the UK, Damien, Ursula, who's in here? A couple hundo, maybe. And I know the UK is a much smaller country, and maybe we should compare, the similarly populations or whatever. I don't know. There's something to fucking matter here, but the whatever the matter is with the mandem in this country is not isolated to the US, because when you extrapolate those global homicide numbers, y'all, it's the men killing men, and I don't get it. It's men killing everybody. And everybody's just like, oh, well, I guess man's just gonna be a man. If y'all don't get the fuck out my face with this shit, what are you even saying? I don't see why any of us should be accepting these conditions. Like, no, I don't want this for me as an old lady. I don't want this for your unborn daughter. I don't want this for your infant son. I don't want this for your teenage boy. I don't want this for your non-binary train. I don't want this for no fucking body. But we don't talk about it. Like we don't discuss it as though it's a problem. And it's not just it's not small. And it's not like, oh, well, men kind of kill more than women sometimes. No, all the time, every single time. Y'all, anyway, hold on. Wilbert, you come on here when you get an opportunity, because Will has some special insight. And I guess y'all scared. And if y'all scared, say you're scared, and that's fine. Y'all don't have to call up. Y'all know I can talk for 2 goddamn hours all by my motherfucking self. I don't need it. I don't need a choir. I don't need backup singers. That's fine. But I'm generally interested in hearing from y'all, because I know y'all motherfuckers got all kinds of experience. Y'all come from different walks of life. I don't even need to speak to no sociologists, anthropologists. I want to hear from regular. Do you work with children? Do you work in the correctional facility? Like, where do you work? Where do you see these differences in response to anger and rejection and discipline? Like, how else do you see these responses vary via gender? What's up, Will? Thank you so much for making some time. You gonna keep your camera off?
No, I got you. I got you. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm here.
Thank you, Will. You know what I'm saying? We got to get a bump in the viewership, so we got to,
Shit.
we got to put the face out there,
All right.
There we go. Come on, Will.
Oh, we got Latif on here too. I don't know.
Oh, well, should I go to Latif first? You want to chip in here, or should we let Latif?
Let me see if Latif. I think he said he in the studio.
Okay.
Making some beats, money. I don't know.
How you doing? How's it going?
Hold on. Here you go. What's peace, Latif?
Hey, what's going on, Latif? Fire Fam OG and all of our esteemed mods. Latif.
Peace, Will. Peace, Kim. Peace, Fire Fam. How's everybody doing?
We are right,
Chilling.
Latif. Thank you so much for calling up. What is it, Latif? Do we have a man problem, or do we have a gun problem?
Yeah, I mean, it's well, the argument is that the gun isn't the problem, the shooter is the problem, right? So, just to please the masses, I guess that's where you start the argument. And then again, speaking as not ever convicted of no type of domestic violence, stalking, had no type of protective order. So
Book,
I can't
book,
speak
book,
from that aspect.
book.
So,
That's it. Talk to
like
him.
nothing, no
Like
type
Air
of
Doctor
shit,
was saying,
defense,
talk that talk.
none of that. So
Talk
I
that
can't
talk.
come from that
Listen,
perspective.
I want y'all fellas, I want y'all to be proud of that. Like, if y'all have never had no shit on you, like, it's okay to tell people that. Like, no, I ain't never been
Second
locked
that.
up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And yes, anyway, thank you for that. And make that announcement. Let know where you ain't never been in no trouble for no domestic violence, no protective orders, no stalking. Talk that talk.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's you know what I'm saying. That's a category. I mean, me and Will, we among those ranks. We can say we haven't been convicted of those types of crimes. But I can speak to the perspective of having daughters. I have 3 daughters and a son, and it's not only the perspective of the daughters. It's in a perspective as a father, because not only am I teaching my daughters, I don't teach them the dangers of guns when they're leaving the house, interacting socially. I teach them the dangers of, you know what I'm saying, people. Like, not only watch out for these dudes out here, but you got to be just as mindful of catty women when you out here in these streets. I mean, I get that part, but for me, it the conversation definitely steers, and mind you, my oldest daughter is 30, and the
Mm.
next one under that is 20, and the youngest is 7. I'm done, but again, like I'm my dad mode is serious, so it's like, oh shit, you got 7? Yeah, absolutely, like in there all the way. So but I'm in there. But just as I am, you know, offering counsel to my daughters, it goes the same way for my son. It is a different counsel. You know what I mean? You accommodate into the behavior of the kids. You accommodate into the behavior of what's going on in those moments, because there is no, like, I'm pretty sure Will can attest to this. There is no game plan for kids. You know what I'm saying? We have protocols. Like, you have to be able to adjust the plan to the kid or the adolescent or the immaturity that you're dealing with at that time, because that shit will change, and you expect it to. So again, my experience comes in for that, and also it also comes in as, being convicted of a gun charge, an all unlawful shooting charge. And again, I don't mind sharing none of this shit. This shit is public records. You can go look that shit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you dig deep enough, you will see that public record. So it was, but again, even in that situation, you can see where that guidance, that addressing the issues of raising young men to men, addressing those issues of interceding, teaching men how to deal with their emotions, because at the time it was definitely came down to some unchecked emotions, and they wanted to handle the situation with firearms. One
So,
of them ended
wait,
up in
hold
the
on,
hospital.
Latif. Not to be all in your business, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
you did say that you had been blamed on or was blaming on. So I'm sorry. Like, what happened? Somebody shot at you, or you? If you don't mind, like, you don't have to give
No, I
the whole
don't,
story,
cause
but
y'all my fam. I don't give two shits about sharing. I mean, this happened in when I was 19, going on 20. So again, and again, I'm even at the age of 19, you know what I'm saying? We was in some rowdy shit in the 90s, like especially coming up in the East Coast VA, you know, highway trotting from VA to New York. Like, there was plenty of opportunities to get a fucked up record in the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
thanks, Joe Biden. Thank you, Joe
So,
Biden, the 94 crime bill, you piece of
right.
shit. You piece of
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
shit, Joe
So,
Biden. Sorry.
so this happened in 97, and in short, being legal, no, I had maybe a couple speeding tickets, maybe, but no drug charges, no gun charges, no assault charges, no misdemeanors, no possession I had none of that shit in 97. But when someone decided to come to the dwelling I was at and challenge me from inside the dwelling, they're outside the dwelling. You know what I'm saying? Once I saw metal being flashed and guns being flashed, and after the 15 bullet holes through the front door, which could have took the life of me
Jesus.
and the second person that was in the house. Luckily, no one died, but the shooter fled, and the
Dang.
second shooter didn't get a chance to shoot. But again, I responded by shooting from inside the house. So I hit one guy. He went to the hospital. They found him a couple weeks later. I'm sorry, a couple of months later. They found the shooter a couple of weeks later. But
Mm.
that ended
Alive?
up,
Was he
yes,
alive?
yes.
Oh, they didn't
He
find him in the
was,
field, or okay? I'm just double checking. Just saying.
well, I only, but again, well, I responded first because by the time I saw a gun, I wasn't going to wait for no one to start shooting at me. If you were already brandishing a gun, the conditions was already set that you were there to like do harm, maim, get me to come out, challenge. I wasn't about that shit. So when I responded, by shooting one of the shooters, and then the other guy, he switched cheese the front door up, and then they both fled. They found one 2 weeks later. They found the other one 3 months later. I was indicted for trying to shoot him because he said that I tried to kill him. So I was indicted. I turned myself in. I ended up doing like some years and
Mm.
in
Oh, wow.
the system, and then
Mm.
I've been a felon ever since. But again, like I'm just thinking that shit is deeply rooted. Like you came over there to challenge another man because your feelings was hurt.
Mm.
You decided to respond with gunfire. You know what I mean? I wasn't in no streets. It ain't like I was gang banging out here. You know what I'm saying? East side, what? No, that wasn't me. I was a father at 17. My youngest is 30. So by the time I was 18, I was a year in fatherhood. 19, 2 years. I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? 3-year-old birthdays and shit like that. I
So
wasn't in no
hold on,
streets.
Pratik. So when this incident happened and someone was shooting at you, you said you were carrying legally. So why? I'm just curious. Why were you even carrying in the first place? You know what I mean? Like,
So
was there something
carrying
about?
was the norm.
But tell me why it's the norm, because not. I mean, it is the norm because America's a violent place, but not everybody carries, right? Like I believe in guns all fucking day. I don't carry in public, and I wouldn't. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious why. What were the conditions going on that you felt the need to carry?
So what I know now and being able to analyze back then, but not knowing in those conditions at the time. So it is definitely from conditions of being impoverished. Like I grew up in downtown Newport News, like on 16th Street and Stewart Gardens. And even though we weren't living in like extreme impoverished conditions because my mother worked hard, and you know what I'm saying, she utilized the system to make sure that we didn't need for anything. So but at the same time it wasn't enough, or at the same time, even if it wasn't enough and you didn't want to deal with it in that way, you would either coerce, coach, encourage, or you just made a decision to live in that life because you wanted more. Now, for those reasons, what you want more, that's definitely another shift. But
But
again, like,
were you
so when you
robbing with
find
this
your
gun? Was that your intention? You got a
no,
gun
no,
so
no,
you
no,
could
no, no. It was no, it was definitely for protection. Like I didn't rob. Like, but if you out here
Mm.
hustling or you doing anything, you just moving through these streets and your car's your car's 5 years nicer than the other car. They just don't like you got to be prepared. Like because there's always somebody out here clocking you.
so
They watching you.
So let me ask, have you ever been in a situation where you have been confronted by a gun with a gun by a woman? Well, let me back that up. How many times that you can think of that have you been confronted by a gun, period, by all persons? Roughly.
So in an intimate, dangerous setting other than the
No,
one I
no,
just talked about.
any setting where that
Oh,
someone
any
has
setting.
yeah.
At
How many
least four. At least four, and two of those times there was definitely rounds fired off inside a in a club setting, outside with that shooting through the door, and just having guns brandished in a very point blank dangerous setting where like you don't know who's gonna shoot first type of shit. Like yeah, it's been just in the past 40 years. I'm 47. And just in the past 40 years, I can think of vividly four on at least four occasions.
So, on 4 occasions in your life, you've been confronted with a gun. Out of those 4 instances, how many were men and how many were women who did the confronting?
So out of all those occasions, it was definitely all men. However, the only instance where a firearm was taken up by a woman, it was in protection. It wasn't to maim or
But she wasn't
it was
aiming it at
only in
you.
response.
But that's my point. I'm talking
Right.
about like
No.
how many times have you been confronted? So you've seen a woman utilize a gun in protection, but it wasn't to protect herself against you, right? So like, or was it?
Right, right, right,
Oh, so
right.
is it-
Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely.
just checking. Okay. Will, I want you to weigh in here. Thank you, Infinite Content. I'm gonna get to your super chat in a moment because I again, y'all, like I know guns are a problem, but the problem with guns being the problem is I live in the real world. You cannot collect 440 million guns off the street. It's going to take 1,000 years. Okay. It's going to take, seriously, many centuries, especially at the pace that local police departments operate now, where they take 1, 2 guns off the street a week and they post the shit on Twitter and they think they're doing fucking something. Like we can't get the guns off the street. That's a pipe dream, right? So what we can do is try to change the behavior of the people who are wielding the guns. And overwhelmingly, when it comes to committing murders and homicides, it's men doing that wielding. But Will, I mean, we talk about you and I talk about this shit all the time. We talk about this shit all the
Yeah.
time because I'm always asking Will. Listen. I always got questions for the good bruvs. I'm like, yo, why the rest of these niggas ain't shit? Like, what the fuck is going on? But Will sees it from a very early level. Will, what is the age range of the children of which you teach art to?
I teach pre-K to 8th grade.
Okay, so that's a range.
Yeah.
So that's like what? Like 4 to 13,
Yeah.
14.
Mhm.
4 to 4, let's say 4 to 14. Fuck it.
Right.
So tell me what you observe in terms of when children act out, when they misbehave, if they themselves become violent. Do you see differences in the children's behavior in the classroom? Do you see that breakdown dramatically via gender?
Uh, yeah, because it's not funny, but we laugh. We laugh because it was like we were talking about this little boy. He tried to flip a table in my class. What was that? Yes, was it yesterday?
I'm
The day
sorry.
before?
I'm sorry. You said the child
He
attempted
tried.
to
He's in
flip
the
a table.
second grade. No, this is not just a child. Like this is a second grader, and he just had the most serious like he just couldn't do it. And I was just like, that is hilarious, but what's going like we so I pulled him to the side and I was like, listen, just like is there because the way that dealing with children, you have to they give you sometimes like tools and tropes and things like that, like, okay, uh should you be doing this, reaction things to just behavioral issues in the class. um So with him, I just try to develop a rapport of like, listen, before we get to this, is there like I know when you feel it, because I try to get them to identify physical things, like you feel it in your chest, right? You like this, right? You not breathing, right? Relax, take a deep breath, get it off your chest, um, and just talk to me. You can talk to me. It's okay. Like I really try to talk to them on their level and let them understand like this is it's okay to have your feelings. You're not going to get your attention. You're not going to get the attention that you want if it's how you negatively affecting the situation. So I had a little boy, any little thing he would flip out. He would start kicking stuff. He still did it today. He was like kicking my table, just kicking it, kicking it, kicking it, kicking it, kicking it. He
Repeatedly. I
Yeah.
mean, he didn't just give it one kick and walk away.
No. No.
Wow.
There's never just one.
So hold on. Conversely, when a young girl doesn't get her way, or is reprimanded or disciplined, or you tell her no, or what's the worst in which you have seen a little girl respond to criticism, or being disciplined, that you personally have encountered?
So I'll give you another example also in that same class, because it's actually, so first of all, it's, I think it, like like, to me, it's like a mental conditioning, and also like how people are handled. And it's a lot more little boys that need that kind of one-on-one IEP kind of attention. But this is, there's some girls that have it as well,
Mhm.
but they also, this a little, again, I don't talk to them like, oh, you're this or whatever the case may be. I really talk to them like, listen, you are smart. Like, I'm talking to you one on one. Like, how can we amicably be, respect the situation? And she kicked the table again. It's there. I guess it's convenient to kick.
So the little girl kicked the table too.
Yeah, so she kicked. But this is the first time she's done that. The little boy that I was talking about, he had to be escorted out of the class. Like, it was a couple times that I had to, like, pull him to the side. But again, it's about developing the rapport. It's about understanding and stuff like that.
So the
And
little girl didn't start kicking the table until after she had seen a little boy kick the shit out the
oh,
table.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. But she had the same.
You right.
Yeah,
You right. As you were saying that, yeah, it is more of a, when you talk about distinguishing how you approach a girl and a boy. Yes, that is different. But when they are amongst themselves and as well, it is a very good chance that they just are going to adapt the same behavior, regardless if they're a girl or boy. Hence,
right,
the boy kicking the table, then the girl.
right. But she also had a little bit more, I guess, to me, I say range, like emotional range, because I feel like little boys don't got a lot of emotional range. They just mad, sad. It's like it's very, like, dramatic in that way how they swing. With little girls, they have a little, it's a little more conscious, a little more like, I'm reacting to whatever this person keeps saying. She was mad because the little boy that tried to flip the table the other day, he was just kept saying something to her, and she was like, don't tell me. They love telling each other to shut up, and also, don't tell me to shut up. You're not the teacher. Don't tell me you're not the teacher. Just you shut up. Like, but I asked everybody to be quiet, and you still talking. So I see why they said that. But can I
Well,
get it. It's like,
again, you do get it, because even though you're trying to make that connection, you still getting treated like a teacher. So that comes with some gripes. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna catch it, Will, at the end of the day. So I commend you, bro. Because I can honestly say, although I have never taught a class, like, but raising kids and interacting with different behaviors and different attitudes, and again, sometimes you can't take the traditional route. Like for me, if it's a table leg he was kicking, I go get one of them foam noodles and wrap that shit around the leg and be like, okay, now you can kick it all you want. So,
Well, my question is, why
it
did
is,
the little boy? Why did the little boy? Why was his reaction kick? Like, why was his reaction to? I mean,
he
regardless of whether or not we're glad that the little boy did not kick Will, but kicking is still an act of violence, is it not? You know what I'm
oh,
saying? Like,
I've been kicked before by a little
well,
boy.
well, yeah, not an act of violence. If it's against a table, it is an act of expression. When it's against a table, when it's against a
well,
person, it's an act of violence.
I'm not
You know what I'm
sure
saying?
because
Because
the
if we're
police.
walking past a field and we see somebody taking a bat to a table, we think, hey, you don't have to do that in the field. They got rooms that you can pay to do that. You know what I'm saying? What are they called? Stress rooms? What are those rooms called where you lock yourself? You get to pay to go in there. They got all this glass set up, and they got old computers and TV screens, and they put
Hmm.
you in these big body suits, and they give you like a hammer or a baseball bat, and
But
you
that's
just get to
violence. I mean,
smash
it's not
shit.
violence against a person, but it still is an act of violence, right? If you're hitting something, you're striking it, like that's a violent act. Whether or not whether or not the inanimate object is being harmed or not, which it obviously is not being harmed because it's an object, it's a piece of property, it's still
Mm.
an act of violence. Like if I came and busted your windshield, I didn't hurt you. That was still violent of me to come fuck your shit up, right? But even though the little boy didn't harm the table, anyway, kicking to me, y'all, we can agree to disagree. I say kicking is still an act of violence, regardless he was kicking a table. So for the child, the male child, to react in that way, to respond in that way to correction or to discipline, you know what I mean? To respond in a violent way to kick. And you said, you've been kicked, Will, maybe not by this child, but why do you think that? You said boys' range of emotions is very limited. It's mad, sad, and overexcited or whatever. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what the root is, y'all, because because the root can't be capitalism. The root can't be white supremacy. It can't be misogyny. It can't be patriarchy. Because again, girls and women grow up under these exact same structures. You know what I'm saying? So the way that we are socialized under these structures is obviously different, and for some reason it is normalized and accepted for boys to respond in the ways. And there's another thing you said, Will, when you were like, the boys just be mad, sad, and it's like in dramatic, you said, and it's like, wow, how often do we hear girls and women's expressions of emotions be characterized in a derogatory fashion as emotional? Oh, females just emotional, just emotional. But it's like, it sounds like these young men are extremely emotional, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not being addressed. So what, as an educator, what do you see? Do you see are boys and girls socialized differently in school as well, even at the early ages in which you encounter them? Or do you think that gendered socialization comes from home, or are they receiving these messages from the world and the media? Or it's likely a combination of all of it. But how do you see it, Will?
Uh, first we got Alex and Tyler. They calling in too, but I'll give
Latif,
my I'll be
can we let you go, Latif, and make way?
Absolutely. I will make way absolutely for Tyler and Alex. I appreciate y'all letting me on. Will's
Thank
dope.
you.
Kim, I appreciate y'all. Peace, fire fam. I love y'all. Stay
Thank
peace.
safe
you.
out there. Big shouts out to Uncle Raw. He about to get on the road here the next 24 hours. He about to be driving in his stuff. So I got to give a big shout out to him too as well. So y'all be easy out here. Be safe. Stay panic.
All
Thank,
right,
thank you, Latif. Shout out to Uncle
peace,
Marad.
Latif. We appreciate you, bro.
Thank you very much, Latif. Thank you so much. We'll continue. I'm sorry with your answer. Then we'll bring on whoever was next. But
Okay.
finish what you was going to say in terms of how you see the socialization differ.
Yeah. The only thing I could say, I guess because I took a just um intriguing like look into like trauma and different things like that. So everything, well, not everything, but a lot of things are start at home. 90% of
Mhm.
stuff starts at home. So um it is at home. I mean, of course, society, like you said, misogyny perpetuate that, but and then but also like you got to look at that too, is like parents come from society. So it's their culmination of thoughts and ideas from society, their society or their perspective. So like I said, to me, like I said, little boys, like I said, and when I meant dramatic, I mean like if we're going on a scale to 10 being like, you know, I'm starting kicking that. It's like I said, to me, most of the time little boys go straight to they hang out in that 8, 9, 10. you know, it's like they're either settle or 8, 9, 10.
And oftentimes, I mean, the age range of the kids you're talking about prepubescent kids. So it's
Yeah,
not like
these are
the hormones is taking over and the kid. No, no, no. We talking about third, fourth, fifth. Three, four, fifth. Yeah, we talking about little
no,
kids.
even I mean younger, like you gotta like I did pre-K, I did kindergarten. So this starts kindergarten, little boy. It's like that's I'm telling you, it's wild. it's wild to see, because the what I love about teaching is like you get to see the essence of really being a child, like the really raw, like first moments of really, understanding. Like what I teach is art, so it's like all of that stuff. I like that. But also, you see just how people are developed and stuff like that. But to me too, also, I look at appearance plays a big part on it. What does this child that's acting this way look like? Me, I'm into, how I appear and stuff like that. So haircuts and stuff like that, I always look at that. Always look at, who got on real shoes versus who got on Crocs or whoever got on this beat up, it's because kids, they wear stuff out, but it's like come on, yo, like that's falling apart. You need new stuff. So I look at that type of stuff, and also like, okay, maybe you're not getting as much attention in certain kind of ways that you could, or maybe you're not, it's like, it's not, that's also not always a guaranteed situation too, because that, again, that range of how people are, it's like some people were that, but a lot of people are very like, yo, we ready to fight all the time. Like, what's up? You disrespecting me. It's like, I feel disrespected. But we could be here all night. So can we get Alex on here?
Let's get Alex on here. Is this Lady Alex or is this another
Yeah,
Alex?
I don't like lady anymore. Alex is good. Hey,
Alex.
everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Such a honor and pleasure to hear your voice. I love hearing people's voices who have been Fire Fam and I just never heard them or seen them before. So Alex, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. Well, just a couple of things. Observation. I'm a psych nurse. I'm from New York City.
Oh, Alex, you got all
originally-
the insight. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Let me not cut you
It's all
off.
right. I'm going to do it in little tiny bits, not a whole long thing. I'm from New York, lower class, took the, no money, whole lot of whatever my situation was. Anyway, just a little thing. So I finally, had, I'm like a lot of women, with the bad relationships and made silly mistakes and stuff like that with violence, etc. And then I crafted an idea, and my mother and I worked together, unbeknownst to my ex, that for 6 years I went to school, and he didn't know I was going to leave him the day after I graduated because I didn't have a way to survive, and I had kids, and no money and whatever. So I finally graduated nursing school with debt, of course, and left New York City. Fast forward, that was in 1998, and I've been working ever since, still am, but I worked in psych, and I worked in prisons and drug, mostly substance abuse and mental health, and seen a lot and unbelievable stuff. And, just to give you a background now, the violence and guns and male and female, I think if you go back to the Europeans when they came here, I'm just trying to figure out why we have this male-female stuff and this violence, that they brought the women over, they came with the men, and the men continued on, their domination of the women, and they continued on here. And it just perpetuated. And of course, women being physically not as strong as men, coupled by the gender roles and the oppression that came from here, it just perpetuated. And then it just got worse, and it just morphed into 2024. It's just different, but it's the same. It's the same mentality. It's the same power trip, violence, bloodlust, domination, everything that created this nation, genocide and taking over, and all the bad stuff that's going on now was going on then. Now it's just different. And women are oppressed, and we're in the same situation we've always been. It's only we have guns and social media and, stuff like that, but it's still the same. The basics are still there. It's just looks different. And guns are just have been here since the white people came and destroyed everybody here. And they made more of it because they can destroy and conquer. So we're exactly just on the same road where we started, only different. And I look at it and I see that. And I don't see anything changing, like I don't see any good happening in any of the thousands of things on the list that needs to change in this country. So I'm not a nihilist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist.
Mhm.
I mean, I started protesting when I was 11 and I'm 65 now. And I can honestly say I'm cynical for a reason. And I can honestly say that I am not going to see the changes that need to be changed. And it's unfortunate, but I accept it. And the only thing I can do is speak out when I know I'm not going to be harmed. Mutual aid, help my fellow person and give them money if their lights are going to be shut off, or food, or, anything I can do to help. That's all I can do, and give money to you guys when I can. I mean, we don't have power, and I am been upset and angry and frustrated, low since 1970. I mean, since I was radicalized by my mother, who was a union fighter, and it's unfortunate that we are where we are. And I think that, it's very complex to look at society, and there's thousands and thousands of things that are happening that are horrible and oppressive. And, this society, this government has a craven disregard for human life. It always has. We're the same as we were when we touched down here and destroyed the peoples that were here. We're no different now than we were then. And it's the same to me, and I live and we'll switch over. I live in New Mexico. I live in a place where there's 19, they call them reservations, and I see with my own eyes what's going on. The indigenous people live in open concentration camps, if you will, and they're oppressed. I mean, I see that intimately on a daily basis because I'm here with them all the time. And again, working in the prisons and seeing all the people that were in the prisons. Who were they? Of course, they were all Native American, indigenous people and people of color, and horrible situations, things that I saw there. And the police, before I leave, abolish the United States, abolish the pigs, down with this country and down with imperialism, and land back.
Lady Alex, I am so grateful that we have viewers like you with the experience that you have, with the perspective that you have, with the empathy and caring that you have, and with the, your take on this colony and all that we are dealing with within it. I appreciate that. I appreciate you calling. And I appreciate what you said because, yeah, I mean, here we are, just the latest iteration of, many millennia of male dominated violence, right? Usually men killing themselves, killing each other, and finding some time, to kill a couple chicks in there when they have some breaks. But it's like, I just want to know is when does that line get broken? Does it ever get broken? Like, are we as a society going to say, we've been doing this violence thing for a while, but I understand that the violence serves a purpose, right? Like you make certain demographics, put them in the conditions in which they will resort to violence. If they live in poverty, if they are marginalized communities, in which violence will be an option for them. And then you demonize those people, then you subjugate them, then you siphon them away from society. Like, I understand that allowing the violence to fester and continue does serve a structural oppressive purpose. I do get that. But it's like, what can individuals do? Like Will said, parents are people, the children are being raised by people. But it's like, I feel like there is something in the way in which our little boys specifically are socialized. And I don't know what that thing is. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but it's like whatever the boys are getting the girls are not getting. And
This
I
has been
don't.
happening forever, though. I mean,
But,
this is, boys are treated differently than, I mean, there's no difference.
but
I
what
mean,
is the difference though? Like
the-
what is the thing? Is it
we're-
the fetishization of the gun as a toy by literally putting toy guns in little boys' hands when they're toddlers and
it's a perpetual thing since the beginning of this society, even before in other cultures, mostly European. I don't know. I haven't done studies, history of other cultures. I'm sure worldwide, females, I know in history, women and girls have been treated differently, and they still are. And from being insulted all the way to murder and mutilation. I mean, this is just the way it always has been. This problem with boys being treated differently and being socialized differently than girls, this is not going to change. I mean, and I think if you look, I'm just trying to think, there's so many problems, and we're so entrenched, and we're not going to get out of it. I mean, if you can't eat and you don't have shelter and you're being killed by the pigs and, and you're eating bad and you have no health care and there's a toxic environment, you go down the list and it just keeps going and going and going. How do you expect people to break through that and all of a sudden go, hey, I mean, it's not going to happen. And I think the psyche of this country, I keep saying most Americans are ignorant and xenophobic, and they've always been that way. I don't know why, but that's who we are, and it's not going to change. And I accept this. This is the way it is, and we're enmeshed and entrenched in this crazy existence where we lack critical skills thinking, we lack emotional intelligence. But if you're not able to survive and be free and be safe and have a good, healthy life internally and physically, if you don't have those, you cannot expect there to be any positive change. And I don't see those things changing, unfortunately. And so this is going to keep going on and on. I've seen it, all my life.
Can we add Tyler to the
conversation? That's just my feeling about
Lady Alex, thank you, baby. I want to to have kind of one listener on at a time.
Okay,
so,
lady, I'm going to thank you. Kim, you are so beautiful, gorgeous,
you, Lady
stunning,
Alex.
brilliant.
Oh my gosh,
you are just, and Will, seeing your face, you're gorgeous, and you are the essence of incredible beauty and brilliance.
Thank you.
I just love you so much. You just are incredible.
Lady Alex, Alex, I am, you don't understand, like my heart is bursting. Like every time I speak with one of our viewers, it's like, I am so lucky. Like these are the best people on earth. Like, do you understand? Like I just am so amazed and appreciative that someone like you supports this platform and likes what we do over here. Like that really, 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 really means a lot to me, Alex. So thank you. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate you being in the chat all the time. I appreciate the support that you send us. So just thank you so much. We have my son apparently has decided to join us. My young son.
Tyler.
Oh, hi.
Tyler. Hi, baby boy. How are you?
I'm
shit.
good. Are the cops getting to you?
They're getting to you. Wait, actually, that might be
Baltimore.
That's Baltimore. Okay, I'm sorry.
Chill on my city. Chill on my city.
Baltimore, and behind Will. That's all.
Yeah. Relax. It happens a lot. But anyway.
They don't like you speaking your truth, apparently. I don't know.
No. Tyler, Lady Alex raised an excellent point. The conditions in which we are facing now, in which even when men themselves are killing themselves and literally even killing themselves. One that I forgot to even mention, but I'm sure you guys have heard it. Like even at the rates of suicide, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women, right? So men are literally killing themselves. Me. Yes, and then men are literally killing other men, and when they take a break, then they go kill women. But it's like when they take a break from killing other men, then they go kill women. And Alex is right. Like this is a long historical line. This is not a 21st century phenomena or 20th century phenomena or even a founding of this rotten colony of American phenomena.
It's forever ever.
But goddamn, son, I'm tired. I want the men to do
it's
better.
yeah. I mean, you're speaking to somebody who is also really tired of this as a young man and as someone who just really just as I was saying on that last conversation we had, I just want men to be better. I just want people obviously in general to be better, but men especially, because they still do hold an inordinate amount of power and influence in society. Obviously, they like to portray themselves as like the alphas. Like, yeah, just like and you don't really get to be like an alpha when you're out here just disrespecting and just being like the worst parts of yourselves. I just don't understand why people decide to go that route and decide to just literally kill each other over.
But Tyler, so here's my question to you, baby. I mean, but is this a decision that they are themselves consciously making, or is the decision to use a gun as a solution to a dispute or a confrontation or rejection, or for whatever reason, is the gun what have they been socialized and normalized to use to respond to an emotional situation? You understand? Like
well, yeah,
like
because
I'm,
I do think. Well, sorry.
no. It's just that
Yeah.
Are we really making our own decisions here, or are you feel me? What I'm saying? Like
I get it. I actually think it's a little bit of both. To be completely honest, I think it's a little bit of both. I think there are powerful, obviously very powerful groups in this country. A lot of them are telling young impressionable men what to think about not only women, but just how to function in society in general. If you want to talk to people, and like people like like Andrew Tate, people like people like that. There's also like groups like the NRA. Groups like the NRA, they still have influence. Maybe not as much as they used to, but they still they're still out here advertising guns as like, oh, like it's like your God-given right to humanity, and like I understand, like for people like you've said that you've carried a gun, so like so it's
no,
not like
no. I don't. Not in the world, baby. No. I possess in my home for home
you put
protection.
in your home. Okay.
Yes. But not no. I wouldn't.
Okay, there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking you were gonna go outside and like shoot up anything.
Well, not today.
But not today.
I'm sorry, FBI. I'm just playing. Don't
Right.
send Officer Johnson. Don't send Agent Johnson to my house. I'm just playing.
Oh boy, I'm about to get you in trouble. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. So Tyler, let me ask you this. Coming from the perspective of a Gen Zer, I am a Gen Xer, and when I was your age, Hillary Clinton was telling my parents' generation that we, the Gen Xers, that we was the super predators.
Super predators,
like
right,
Hillary Clinton, nigga, Tyler, the shit that they talked about Gen X, you understand? Like, so when I hear all the similar rhetoric about Gen Z, these children are out of control, and I'm like, nigga, I heard that shit in 97.
Heard that shit.
Like we used to hear that all the time. But
like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Yeah, right. Well, my mom grew up, like, she was a teenager in the 80s. She had like the whole Reagan war on drugs thing. It's not new.
No, it's not new. But what I wanted to ask you is, how do you see the violence breaking down in terms of gender, right? Because again, the story that we just played of the young people having the New Year's Eve party at the hotel, and the boy was coming in trying to take advantage of the drunk girl, and then they put him out and he got mad and shot through the door. And it's like, that's your reaction? Like,
right, that's the first thing you go to when you see that. Like, come on, it's insane.
So,
like,
what do you think are some of the reasons that young people are responding to situations the way that they are. Some of them are, right? If they do respond with guns.
Some,
Like
right.
how do you see this as someone born, when was you born, baby? 19 what?
2002.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I know. I know.
Woo. Baby was born in 2000. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of children. I know many children were born after 2000. That shit just sounds weird to me as a
It just
non-parent.
sounds new.
It's like, God
Like,
damn.
well, it's the 21st century, so like
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, I think obviously, like every generation has like their outlet and things that they're upset about, and things that they are taking their anger out on. I mean, and every in every, I guess, every I guess older group or people in power, that they want to blame it on like culture. They want to blame it on like video games. They want to blame it on rap music. They want to blame it on just all types of stuff. But I think if we don't fundamentally address the problem of just of the policies that are being put in place in these cities, in these areas, I always try to bring it back to that anyway. Like, if we don't address that, they're the one, like they complain about young people, and they complain about, oh, why are they so dangerous? Why are they so violent? And yet they're the ones creating the policies that make them turn into these violent thugs or what they want to call them.
Absolutely. No, that's true.
And I think, I think that if we don't address that first, then we're not going to get anywhere, or at least because obviously it. I'm not going to say it's not a cultural thing, because it is. I mean, we can't just not say that.
That's the
I mean,
problem, though. Whose culture? Because when I was looking up some of the global homicide statistics, I mean, this is not an American problem. Like, the men are the purveyors and the victims. And the victims
right.
of violence, and this is
Right.
everywhere. And I know,
It's
and
everywhere.
again, I don't mean to bring this topic up of, guys, guess what I just figured out? You know what I'm saying? Like the men are killing each other, and they killing themselves, and they killing us. Like, no. We all have known that. But when I hear these stories covered, anecdotally, about domestic violence or whatever, and then the question naively, juvenilely almost asked by news media is, well, what about we're going to do about the guns? And it's like, the guns, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at UK
Right.
homicides. UK, like most people are murdered in the United Kingdom via knife crimes. You know what I'm saying? And those
Right.
perpetrators of murders are overwhelmingly male, right? So
Exactly. So it's not, and it's not like it's not like a one size fits all thing. It's not just a gun thing. It's not just a one anything.
no, but it is a male thing, baby. That's what I'm saying. Like,
It is a male thing.
That's
It is
what
a
I'm
male
saying.
thing.
And
Predominantly a male
predominantly
thing.
correct. Predominantly, not exclusively. 100% correct. It is predominantly a male thing. So that's what I'm just trying to. I can't. Maybe I'll never get to it. Maybe I don't fucking know. But again, what are the boys getting or not getting? Or that the girls are not getting. You understand? Like, if we all grew up
Right.
under the same conditions, then how come we don't have a
Exactly.
comparable amount of female school shooters
Of
or
violence.
mass shooters or intimate partner violence at the same rates, the same deadly way? Like, I don't understand why women are not responding in the same way to the shared conditions, right? And not even all the conditions are
Right.
shared, but yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah. Obviously, everybody has like a collective sort of like suffering, whether it be in silence or out loud. Like, but clearly we're responding in ways that are, well, to say the least, not helpful, or at least we're responding in ways that will only make the problem worse. Like, and people like to say like, oh, well, I mean, I actually do think it is also a mental health problem too.
I agree with that.
I do think a large part of it is lack of mental health treatment. I don't think it's like a lack of mental health awareness, at least now. Right. I mean, you could say that like back when you were growing up, maybe it was like a lack of awareness around that. But now I think, I don't know, it's I wouldn't say it's baffling, but considering who their role models are and who they're listening to and who they're talking to like get advice from how to treat women or how to treat others. But like you could be of sound mind and listen to like freaking like the weirdest misogynists in the world. But I think, I don't know, I do think there is a mental health issue there, and to be fair, I also think like the way politicians scream about mental health and we need to help them and but they're not doing anything about it. They're not like, which is why I want to go, which is why it always goes back to policy for me. It always goes back to like these are the conditions that these men are in, and the same politicians screaming about it aren't like they set those things in place. Why aren't they doing anything about it?
Excellent point. Excellent. Thank you, son. Thank you, son.
Yeah.
Let me read this super chat from Infinite Content. Infinite Content say, Kim, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. What did you say? You said commenting will call you when they're in the house. Okay, Infinite, drive safe, man. I know the East Coast is getting crazy weather right now. To be safe.
It's crazy here in Minnesota too.
Are you getting snowed on, baby? Dumped on? It's dumping snow up there?
Dumping.
Well, you stay in the house, you be safe. You stay running these YouTube streets out here, Tyler.
I'll try. I mean, I always do.
Baby. I know you do. I appreciate your call and your very, very wise insight for a person of your tender age. You have a lot of wonderful perspectives. So thank you, Tyler, as always. I appreciate you.
Yep. You too.
Bye, baby. Y'all, I guess there's no answers. The answer is no answers. And again, I hate that I don't come up with solutions on this show. It's like, stack of questions with no answers. Cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, make a nigga want to stay on tour for days. Came back home, things are wrong, but not really. It was bad all along. When you get asked out with a ball of power, something, 50 miles an hour. Y'all, I don't have no answers. I don't know what to say. What's up, Will? Somebody else coming in?
Afra got answers.
Oh shit! Afra has all the answers. I bet.
Kanye ain't ran into Afra yet, huh?
Oh my god! I would like to see an Afra Kanye encounter because I feel as though she would change his life in like 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Oh shit!
Kanye would be a different man.
We have Vesper X on here, but Afra is currently on deck.
Okay. Oh, we have some more people. Oh, Nadia, thank you. I'm gonna read your super chat in a minute here, baby. Afra.
Oh, I didn't know if I was on.
You on now.
You on now.
I don't have my video on, but I put a picture of me and Kim up if I have a little box there.
You don't have to put your video up if you don't want to.
Oh no, I put up a cute picture of us as my icon, so I guess it's not showing.
Oh,
it was me and Kim at Broadway, last year. But yeah, I mean we know some of the answers. I think a few people.
Give them to me. What are the answers? I need them. What are they?
You said what they. Well, I mean, you were asking why, and so it's like we talked about there's a socialization aspect, and then a part that is not popular to talk about, but actually relevant is biology. You know, like there are biological and social differences between boys and girls, men and women, or people assigned female and male at birth. There are differences in our biology, physiology, and our socialization.
So
Um,
how do the biological, how does that influence our behavior? How do the, I mean, because yeah, obviously men and women are different physically and hormonally on some levels, but how does the biology change affect the way the behavior?
I mean, and so it's a combination of things, right? So, obviously, yeah, we have different hormonal makeups and things like that, and then how we're taught to channel, like boys, or people assigned male at birth are always everything is very externalized. A lot of things are very externalized, and they're socialized externally as well. To project. Earlier, you were saying that hitting the table was violent, and I was like, well, it could be considered destructive, or it's just externalization of the emotion. Will was saying that he was talking to the children and telling them, asking them to express their emotions differently than they might be already learning, or not even being taught on
Mhm.
how to manage, but he's trying to channel with them how they could or should express the emotions that they have. For people assigned male at birth, mainly they are socialized to express their emotions externally. People assigned
Are they?
female at birth are often socialized to express emotions in an internalized way, in ways that are quiet, or they're not given the same free range to express externally.
But see, isn't it the opposite, or at least we've been led to believe it's the opposite, right? That boys and men are conditioned to be the strong, silent types. That they are conditioned to stifle their emotions, especially of hurt and vulnerability. Boys don't cry. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was the opposite. I thought
Yeah.
boys were taught to contain their emotions, and it was more acceptable for girls to emote, either cry and you know what I mean, or
But but
whine or
that's what I
whimper.
think is kind of, and you and I had this conversation. I remember last year us having this conversation about, um, you know, some of the violent, some of the very like testosterone fueled, like screaming matches or even physical matches between men that might really just be something that they could say, you know what, my feelings were hurt.
Hmm.
I felt disappointed. I felt disrespected. I felt this way, and they're not taught to. So when I say externalize, it's often external, like physically external. They're not,
Okay.
So that's why I said with Will saying, "Tell me what you're feeling," because I'll tell you, I know exactly what you're saying. I talked to my younger brother, who I feel like, like I helped raise this away, and he's come back and told me, like, I'm so glad that you talked to me and like pushed me to express my feelings and my emotions, and even physically to express them, but like not in destructive ways. Like, okay, we're
Hmm.
going to move, we're going to, if we need to scream, if we need to sing, if we need to speak out, if we need to write things, if we need motion, we can have motion. And also doing that for girls too, because as women we grow up and don't do that, and we suffer dramatically in physical, ailments, because we're not externally expressing our emotions in constructive and not destructive ways. But yeah, boys are often told to man up or to suck it up or to not cry, and so they do things that are socially acceptable, like hitting, breaking, pushing, shoving. They do things that are physically harmful to themselves and to each other. And then they grow up to be men that do physical, like externally expressive things, instead of saying, hey, my feelings were hurt because you didn't acknowledge me here, or you didn't invite me here, or you didn't, say this to me, or you didn't allow me to say how I felt, or you didn't hear me.
Yeah,
They
that
hit each other.
I
They
would I
shoot
would
each other.
I would agree with Afra. What you said stuck out to me about hitting themselves, because again, even at the age of what, kindergarten, first grade, tops. Just I'm stupid, like hitting himself. Even the little boy that I told you tried to flip the table, he was hitting his head against the thing, and I was like, that hurt. Like, even though I don't want you to do that, you're only hurting yourself. Why do you think that when shaming yourself, I should shame myself by hitting my head against this? A little boy literally, like, it was wild because I was in a room full of maybe 60 kids, and this little boy would just constantly have these interactions where he would run away. He would interact with one of the kids and run away. I'm stupid. And, hit himself. I'm stupid. Or, he would just constantly keep saying that just over and over and over and over again. I was like, I don't know if I could be his teacher. It's like one of those things that, like, how do you be his teacher if that's constantly his reaction to the situation? And it's like, it's, again, that's why I gotta go back to, like, it starts at home, honestly, because there was no way that, I could be like, yeah, let me teach a kid how to personally harm himself. That's the way how to, like, no, I like that's scary. And I've dealt with that multiple times at third grade like that. I had a kid last year, he would hit his head against it's concrete and he's hitting his head against it, like, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Why is like, I couldn't.
And they haven't been taught another self-regulation. So my family will often laugh at me because, like you said, these kids have video games and internet, and they have, like they have all these devices and things, and they don't go outside, all this thing. And I'm like, they don't use their imagination, they don't read books. This is what people talk about. My children won't eat that. They don't like this. And I'm like, do they have bank accounts? Do they have jobs? They can only do, granted, there's a whole world that they are exposed to, and there are other people that you have them around, but you are the primary educator, example, like now you're the primary influencer in their life for a short window of time. And so you're not the only, but you're the primary. You absolutely have a lot of power over what they perceive and do, and a lot of it is our own self-regulation. So it's like one of the things that when I'm around children, I teach them self-regulation, like breathing techniques and meditation. And like I said, I've had friends and family laugh and say, "Oh, my kids are going to, like, they're not going to sit still for that," and they're always surprised that they'll sit still for us, doing a breathing and meditation and imagination. Like, oh, okay, tell me where, like, where you imagine what makes you feel excited or safe, or like, where would you like to be, and what do you want, like, just having them do guided images and things like that. And people are always shocked, like, so I'm like, yeah, teach them how to regulate their own emotions. Teach them, give them safe space to speak with you about what they're thinking and feeling, because even though people say kids don't lie and all these things, like, children learn from very young ages that they're not safe to express their thoughts, their feelings, and emotions about their own circumstances, about what they see around them. And they learn to hide things. And one of the ways that they're regulating whatever is going on with inside of them, like, is like what Will just said, they're hitting themselves, or they're hitting themselves, and because they just literally haven't been taught to breathe or try something else. And so they came up with that, or saw someone else doing it and tried to do it themselves.
That's what I'm saying, though. But that's why I keep coming back to. But the little girls also, may not have been taught the same sort of self-regulating behavior. But Will, have you seen a little girl in your class beat her head up against the concrete ever?
No, actually, that's I've seen a lot, and it's little boys. I don't it again.
I have a
I don't
niece
know how
that
to.
I have a hopefully my sister will remember. I have a niece that actually was doing when she was having tantrums at like 2 or 3. She started flailing herself around, and it would be it would be like harmful to her. My sister almost lost her life and the baby, like, at the end of her pregnancy, there were some complications, in the South, and Black women pregnant. Like that's a whole other topic, right? But my niece was premature, and she was about, I think, 2 months, and she was in the hospital for quite some time afterward. And so we've known to be expecting of some sort of developmental differences, right? And I haven't been around her as much in this past year or so, but she seems to be doing a lot better. She's verbal now. She could speak a lot more. But she was doing this thing, and I noticed with my sister, when she would do it, she was pulling at her own hair. My sister she has long locks. She was pulling at my sister's locks. Like she was just being very destructive, and to a point that she could hurt herself or someone else. And so when I came around and my sister was like, "Oh yeah, she does this," I was talking to her and I said, "I know that you're really intelligent and you can understand what I'm saying to you. Because I've seen you, and I see you listening, I see you watching, and I see you identify things. Auntie Afra is not going to tolerate that. I know that you can do better. You can tell me what you're feeling a little bit. You can cry. I can give you a hug. We can walk, but you cannot hurt yourself, and you can't do it." And I just kept talking with her. And I remember at one point she started to have her tantrum, and I said, "I'm not doing that with you. You're not going to pull me." And she just looked kind of like, "Hello, lady, I'm having a tantrum." So she walked out of the room and went into the kitchen where her mom was and started flipping out, and then her mom, went through the routine that they did again. So again, some of it was definitely she was dealing with some neurological things probably, or whatever going on, but also some of it was a learned behavior. Like, this is the reaction that I get. This is the response that I get when I act this way. So so it was like I was talking to my sister, like, "Look, I know it's hard, and I know you're used to, like, let me just give her this sugar thing, or let me just do, but try, like, really try to talk through things with her, really try to stop what you're doing, move through the thing with her, like, and just give her a different." And again, Sway, I didn't got all the answers. I ain't got all the answers, but I know when you said about why are girls going through the same thing, because girls aren't, we lose so much of our independence and our freedom as girls when we're little boys and girls. The conditioning already starts about crossing your legs,
Oh yeah.
about being quiet, about crying. Like I said, boys crying versus girls crying. This is not every single person, but very often this is like very often the thing. And then when we get to our bodies, about how someone's supposed to look or touch you or something like that, like there's so much focus um on protecting girls in sexual ways that is not focused on boys often, right?
That is correct.
And so there's a different expression, or even a different
Value.
sense of value of your body. And then as we start to get to puberty, girls lose so much freedom immediately, because we used to be able to have our shirts off, and then suddenly we can't run around with our shirts off. So boys and girls are socialized very differently from very young ages, and in social social sexual ways, in social behavioral, in just in expression, especially. One other thing I'll say about with my brother that would drive me crazy with him: when he was little, he would get upset and he would turn into a brick wall. I'm like, "What's going on? What's wrong? Speak to me." And he would not speak. He would just be like fuming. And I'm like, and I would tell him over again. I said, "Listen, we can talk through, if you're angry, if you tell me you're angry, you're sad, you're hurt, whatever, I can talk through things with you that are not comfortable, but I can't do this, like, nothingness. I can't understand it. I don't know what is going on with you." And it took a lot to get out of it. And even now as an adult, like, he'll have his moment where he's ready to go stonewall, and then he's like, "Okay, let me come out and express what it is that I'm feeling." So and he told me, he was happy that I constantly pushed him to do that, because now as an adult he could see how it could be very not, like, unproductive to not express that. And he deals with other men, whether familial or in social settings, where they are not expressing it. And he's like, hey, bro, man, you got to just say what you're feeling. So I think it's just a thing of us starting of realizing that children are picking up our behaviors that we are subconsciously doing, expressing, even when we're like, oh, don't eat that, don't do that, and then they turn around and see you do it. Like you have to model behaviors, and you have to practice behaviors that you want to model for them, and then you have to talk with them actively. Like you can't just assume that they know, or that is a given that this is just how things are going to be. Like you have to actively do something to, like to combat other forces and other influences around. Like Will talking to kids, like that shit matters, Will. Even if I mean, of course they have their home influences and they're probably doing the bullshit at home, but like, having that one teacher that always told me it was okay for me to, express myself this way or whatever, that somewhere in the back of their head, they may, like they may tap into that resource that you provided them, even for a short time.
Yeah, that's why I do it. I don't know what you can't never say nobody said nothing to you.
Right. Real quick, let me read some super chats. Nadia, thank you so much for your super chat support. Nadia says that the Christo-fascists don't believe in psychology or psychiatry in favor of, quote, spiritual sickness. She says, when they institutionalize LGBT people. Well, yes. So thank you so much for that, Nadia. Yeah, no, I mean, and wait, we had one more too from Emily, our Canadian sister. Thank you, Emily, so much for your super chat support. Ooh, Emily wrote a bunch of words here. Hold on. I can't half-ass read out here, Emily. Emily says a really difficult aspect. Oh, do I have that right? Okay. A really difficult aspect of raising boys as a parent seems to be the fact that society raises your kids I'm sorry, guys, just as much as you do. And also, you don't have to, hold on. You don't have to have direct control. Did I read that right, Will? However, you don't have direct control over how society behaves. I think I read that right.
Yeah.
If not, I got you.
Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your super chat.
Basically, we will take your loonies and your toonies right there, Emily. Thank you so much. And that's 10 toonies. We'll take it. That's what was that 5 toonies, baby girl. I don't know. I haven't been to Canada in a while. Forget my Canadian currency. But thank you so much, Emily. Yeah. And like, guys, I don't envy parents out here at all. Like, I can only imagine doing your best to raise an emotionally intelligent, thoughtful young child, regardless of gender, and then you have to send them to school with the rest of these fucking gremlins. Like, goddamn, like these parents. Well, it's piss poor parenting out here. Like, it's very clear. You know what I'm saying? So I feel bad for people who are raising their well-adjusted kids, and then they got to send them to school with these miscreants, right? And I'm not even talking about children misbehaving. I'm just talking about the wayward messages in which children influence other children to believe things about themselves, or believe, generalizations about how men/boys act, or how women/girls act. Like, a lot of those impressions happen really from your peers, right? When you're at impressionable ages. So I don't envy parents out here. And again, this is kind of a discussion without a solution, because I mean, we do have some solutions. The stuff that Afra and Will have set forth, like, working with boys about how to process their emotions and deal with their emotions is a step, but not everybody is doing that. And it's like, I feel like there has to be like I say generation alpha, even though I know that's a generation, but like whatever the ground zero moment is. Like, I feel like in 2025 people are going to realize that because they have taught their boys to blank, then that has a direct influence in whether or not they are perpetrators of violence later in life. Like, we don't know what that singular thing is, and it's probably not just one thing. It's probably a multitude of things. but it's something, right? Because again, when you have 94% or 98% of mass shooters are male, when you have men committing 85% of homicides, like this is disproportionate. You understand? Like by a lot. Like it's not like 60-40. This is 85-15. Like that's not even close. So again, I know we're dealing with biological conditioning stretching thousands of years in which men uh kill or protect. And then we have the social conditioning, the media conditioning, even the NIH study I talked about that focused from 1976 to 1987. You know, it wasn't no Call of Duty them years, but it was Gunsmoke. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
a bunch of shoot 'em up shit on TV and in the movie. So it's not like those media influences didn't exist. They just existed in a different form, in a different media. So anyway, I don't know, y'all, but I see, and again, I'm not bombing on men. I hope this did not come across that way. I'm actually concerned about men. I actually want men to operate and act in their own self-interest. If men themselves are overwhelmingly the victims of gun violence and murder, then what can men do to help mitigate those horrendous statistics? You know what I'm saying? I do talk selfishly because I do want men to stop fucking killing women, but it's like let me appeal to the self-interest of the man themselves. Like, y'all, like men are fucking each other up out here. What can we do about that?
You're right. You're right to appeal to self-interest because that's be like, listen, it's affecting you too. So that's how I kick it. I be like, how do you want to feel? You know, do you want people's negative perception to be the center of your thoughts and feelings, or do you want, you know, good things and good feelings? And it's a constant process.
And I know some of these mentalities are driven by very specific things, like the whole concept of survival of the fittest. You know, this sort of misconstrued Darwinism that people, you know, play out in street lingo. You know, survival of the fittest. If I don't get that nigga first, you gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I carry. That's why I shot first. That's why I did. Like I know that's born out of capitalism, no question. You know. Anyway, I'm all over the place. Let me calm down. Final thoughts. Afra Ali, you got any parting shots?
Oh man. When you just said that about survival of the fittest, okay, I'll say this. I saw this video that maybe y'all saw of a kangaroo. It's a Netflix show apparently. There's a kangaroo in the pouch of the mom, I guess, and they were running away from a predator, and the baby kangaroo fell out of the mom's pouch, and the predator's still coming. The mom kangaroo kept on hopping, and the baby kangaroo had to get up and start hopping, and was running away from the dingo. I mean, and they were going. It was a whole intense thriller. I want to now go watch this kangaroo something. But saying all that to say, you know, there is again something real to the biological aspect, but I think the best thing is I'm really glad people like Will are in the education system, and if you have any children in your influence, because I mean, of course, talking with adults, sure, you know, like there's still people can change, you know, we can evolve, but I think the biggest thing, the best influences that we have, the best futures that we have are like with thinking about how you engage with young people and with children. So I think that's the best thing you can do. Talk to the young people in your sphere of influence, give them safe places to express themselves, to speak, to share, and share, you know, share resources and safe things and helpful tools with them, and hopefully that's something to get some sort of movement on change going forward in the future. And thank you for the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for contributing to said discussion with your pearls of wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. Wilbert, do you have any final thoughts, parting shots, observations, solutions, even?
You know, uh nah, what comes to me is you know, I feel like the violence is a part of the identity of, you know, men to some you know, just self-expression in that type of way. how so and what plays in that, and then also agreeing with Afra as far as there is a genetic, but from what I understand, trauma is genetic. Like it's literally passed on from one brand, individual to another. So how, I'm not professing to have all the answers, but I'm just glad we having a conversation. I think that like you said, it's not going to be one thing in 2025 that somebody's like, you know what, that it was this, the fact they was eating, niggas was eating chicken nuggets.
That's what I'm thinking, Will. That's where my head is at. It's like, nigga, it was the bazooka bubble gum. Like, stop letting the boys chew that.
It was fucking Doritos. It was like Gatorade.
I didn't go to the vegetarian side of the thing, but there's something in that too, and the accepted violence against other creatures. But
we started Afro, but no, it's
not today.
Yes, it is. No. It is gonna be the Doritos. There's something in the Doritos, but yeah, well,
that plays a part too. But no, like that's so dialogue is always gonna be around the solution. It may not be the solution, but the dialogue leads to the solution. So I'm just glad we having it, and hopefully it helps somebody.
Acknowledge. I want us, but see, that's what I'm saying. I want us to get to solutions, and I think that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even talk about the shit. Like if I share Lady Alex's pessimism. So I'm like I too am a realist. Like I get. But part of me believes, like I believe like something better is possible. What I'm concerned about is that like people are even denying this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had folks say, "Oh, why are you trying to start a gender war? Oh, women kill men too." And it's like, dog, like I'm not but nigga, numbers, like the maths. Like this is what I'm saying. People be denying the maths. People be denying the statistics.
You saying it again, Kim? Gender, even the gender war. Why we got to go straight to? We went straight to war. We ain't going disagreement. The gender disagreement.
I tried to call you the other day, Kim, at the BPM, but we'll talk.
Not the gender. We had no gender disagreement. Gender war.
Just wait straight to bomb. Gotta blow them up. Right. Like, damn.
And it's like, I hate to tell y'all, bitches have no bombs, but okay. Y'all want to be at war. Okay, Israel. Right. Y'all at war, Israel. Okay.
Because in their head, they are at war. It's definitely psychological. Like, oh, you contest anything or say anything in conflict of what I said, we're at war. No.
War.
No.
Straight to it.
We disagree. That's it.
That's how them niggas, that's how these men disagree with each other in the street. You know what I'm saying? They disagree, they reject, you know what I'm saying? Niggas step on my shoe. It's war. Like, why? Like Will said, the little boys be hovering between the 1 and 10. The bull boys be hovering at 8, 9, and 10. Why? Why can't y'all be at 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1? Like, but again, it's like, but the mandem are ready to just pull it. Like it can go from 0 to 100 just like that. And it's like, whew, that's a lot. Like, how do you live your life that way? You know what I mean? Like, how do you live like that? How when you get put out a party, your first response is to shoot up the fucking party. Like, I don't get. Right. Why don't you just go home? Nigga, go to dispensary. Like, it's like. Anyway, it's a lot. So anyway, maybe we could have this with some, I don't know. I would say experts, but I don't really think experts are even more fucking expert. They might have better grasp of statistics and all that shit. But when it comes to the root causes, I don't know if even a quote expert can really help us on that. Like I did anyway. What do y'all think? I don't know. What do y'all anyway? I'm
real quick, because we do gotta
move along.
We should move along, but my friend who is in the chat. Say, what do people know? And then, like you said, do people know differently? Because you're speaking to a reaction that have they ever experienced not acting, somebody not flipping shit out? It's like, how do you know this is an alternate situation if you have never experienced, or like we was talking about it with Afro, with like even giving them the option, like, hey, like you know, before you get there, here's, you know, you could let me know. You could do jumping jacks in the back. You know, that's why I'd be like, you could do jumping jacks in the back. The little girl, I was like, you could do little dances and stuff. She was doing too many dances. I was like, all right, you calm now. you calm now. You're getting too good. Sit down and do the work. I mean, all right,
I would have been that little girl that you told, oh, I could do a dance. Okay.
Right. I was like, you know, he was just saying stuff, and I was like, when you get to you know, a certain level, you know, relax to calm yourself down. Go back there, do what you got to do. Because I told him, I was like, listen, I only get hour. I see y'all for 3 hours a week, and I'm supposed to teach y'all something, give y'all stuff, and clean up in that said hour. Like, y'all doing a lot. Y'all doing a lot. So, but you know, that's just, you know, my perspective on it. You know, we got to, you know, like I said, the conversation, showing them different, being the example that, you know, people need for real.
I want us to come back to this. We will come back to this at a point in the future, because I'm not done with this. Because I know, because I'm a reactionary. In case y'all didn't know,
and a man hater.
I'm a reactionary and a man hater.
J6 for men. She's ready to storm the Capitol for men. J6.
It's like,
it was stolen from us.
Oh man. Man, if I wasn't scared of violent whites, I'd have loved to get down. if my biology and my passed down trauma didn't tell me to avoid mobs of violent whites at all costs, I would have been down at J6.
Right.
But my ancestors said, "No, don't go down there. What are you crazy?"
Had the beers with him, arm in arm. Go in there. Help me get in the window.
Oh,
help me, Brad.
Oh my God. They would have been like, it'd be like,
help me out.
There she go. Or who else? What's another one they was looking for? Anyway, it wasn't Mike Pence. You know what? And the failure of the J6. Y'all didn't even find Mike Pence. Y'all niggas was garbage.
Mike Pence. What kind of word? He was gonna have a word about that. Like, oh, you think they was gonna find me?
Oh my God, Kim! They're about to cut you off on the YouTube.
What kind of fake ass hunters and outdoorsmen were out? Y'all couldn't even find Mike Pence. Come on, the fuck. Mike Pence was right there.
These motherfuckers work at Home Depot and they left J6. they not hunters. They got them out fucking discount.
Well, that's true. No, you right about that. Yep,
you
know
right. A guy that works at Walmart. That's his homeboy Cody. They talk shit on the game.
Oh my God! Oh, they was on Call of Duty.
Yeah, they be in the lobby shooting the shit, saying the N-word.
Where is that? Right. Where is the Call of Duty J6 edition? Oh, nigga, I might have to buy that shit if they do a J6 Call of Duty.
Oh God.
I'm about to look at
yeah, but we about to be there.
Oh, I should find it. If they got it on MLK Day. Ooh. I'm about to buy that. They about to get my $60.
Hey, yo. Now I'm gonna get the J6.
Hey, trademark. Copyright. That's all I did. J6 video game. Don't y'all niggas be go making no J6 video game. trademark.
Why don't you do an Alabama? What did they call it? Did we ever decide?
That's a part of it.
That's a part of it.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
That's one of the rounds.
Yeah. Maybe you start on the boat.
Look, as long as they keep that shit down there, because I don't need it up here. Because if they come, you talking about the boys and the men or listen. I think that we also are conditioned to what we have to deal with. I'm nonviolent, but if you come over here, like Kim said, if you come over here with the bullshit, Kim knows.
Yes. Yes. Opera is about it. See, I am not about it, unfortunately. I would when I was, more able, but I'm less able, so I'm less about it. But Afra is all about it. So And I appreciate that very much about you, by the way. So, guys, let's call it a night. We've been yammering on. We appreciate all two of y'all that stayed. No, it's more than two, but we appreciate the folks that have stayed the entire time. Thank you so much, Yipper99. Thank you, Latif. Thank you so much for calling up here. Shout out to Afra. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Alex. Just not the lady, but just Alex. Big up to Dawn Hammond. Thank you so much, Dawn. Do we have Dawn Bird? Is Dawn Nee? Afraid not. Is Dawn in the bed? I don't see Dawn in here. That's okay, but Dawn's usually in here. Who is that? What's that said? Oh, Latif ran us another super chat. Hold on. My bad, Latif. Oh, shit. Y'all be writing so much. You know what? Why don't you read that shit? Because I don't feel Latif. Can you read Latif's super chat?
I haven't seen a female walking through a public square waving an AR, although men and women convicted of homicide.
See, Will can't half-ass read neither. All right, now I
Yeah.
don't feel as bad. I was outstanding at reading aloud. in school,
My
though.
excuse is I smoke. So,
Oh well. Well, then that's everybody's excuse. But anyway, hold on. Did I get all my shout outs in? Because I don't like to forget y'all. Because I appreciate y'all. Did somebody else leave something? Oh no, that's the thumbnail. Oh well, do you see this nigga? Do you see these motherfuckers? I didn't even. You know what? I'm not gonna even go there because I'm gonna get upset. Shout out to DJ Vesper X. Shout out to what does that say? Oh, Valley Girls. Thank you so much, baby. I appreciate you being in here. Who is these people? Hold on. This some of y'all don't be recognized. I don't be recognizing. Kashara, thank you so much, Kashara. I appreciate you. Is that your friend, Will?
yep, that's my friend.
Okay, I was like, I don't recognize Kashara. That must be Will homie. Kashara, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate
She
it.
engaged, y'all. Congratulations to her.
Not to you though.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. To a fine gentleman.
Oh, well, congratulations, Kashara. Ladies, that means Will, you know, and the girls be getting mad when he don't call them, so that means nothing. That means nothing.
You gotta listen, they not gonna believe you until they try it.
Woo! When the girls get mad when you don't call them no more, well, that mean that thing go air.
I'm just a nice guy. That's good at hugging.
You say good at cutting?
Good at it. I'm a warm hug. That's
anyway. Girls.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna leave it at there.
Mad.
If you know, you know.
I believe you. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much. Stoner Loader, Damien, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. I know Franny Francais will come through later. Norva Witch will come through later. Shout out to Quaker Anarchist. Shout out to Rosalba, my baby girl. All right, I think that's enough. That's enough of y'all. And that's enough of us. Oh, does that say no way? Y'all didn't tell me that we had like our people. April Goggins is in the building. What did April say? Will, what is she saying? God damn it. Because the problem is I don't read the chat, y'all. Because why? I can't half-ass fucking read. So there's that. But thank you, April, for being here, and thank you so much for commenting. I appreciate that.
Yeah, she was dropping some jewels too. But helpful harm is absent community since birth causes violence. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Again, guys, I just need to know. I just got to know why I came up under the same systems. You feel me? I've experienced man violence. It's never once occurred to me to go shoot up the men wherever the fuck the men at. You know what I'm saying? But the men will routinely shoot up where anybody is at. So I just want to know why. Why and what can we do? Because there's something going on here. I mean, I know there's a lot going on here, but women don't respond to the conditions in the same way that men do. And I'm just curious as to why that is. That's it. So anyway, we'll get to those. But April, thank you so much. Shout out to DMV Black Lives out here. Please support the local orgs and go sign up to be part of DMV Black Lives. newsletter. Go follow them on Twitter at DMV Black Lives. They're doing fantastic work in the DC area. So thank you, April Goggins, for being around. So anyway, we'll holler at y'all Friday. See y'all tomorrow morning on Black Power Media. Shout out to Half Atlanta Dev. We're going to see about getting somebody on from the ARC Southeast to talk about reproductive justice through the lens, obviously, of how it's impacting Black women, with the story coming out of Ohio with the Black woman potentially charged criminally for a second trimester miscarriage, because that's how these abortion laws are going these days. You have a miscarriage, they could put you in jail for that shit. You ain't know. So anyway, join us tomorrow morning, Black Power Media, for the Remix Morning Show that starts 8 a.m. Eastern. On behalf of Will and Molly, thank you all so much for coming by and participating in this, I guess, discussion. It was something, but we're going to work on it. So appreciate you guys. We'll see y'all back here on Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Be careful.